Okay, so what we have across the way here is the landfill. This is a Superfund capped landfill. It's a federally capped landfill, and you see the whole terrain involves quite a grade. You'll see some pipes, some little white PVC pipes. That's for the off-gassing of methane, which builds up in the trash that's underneath. So that would be both commercial and residential garbage that has been covered up in this whole area. It goes quite a distance down there. And there's a system for runoff, for both surface water runoff and for leachating materials that would come out from underneath the cap. And it goes way down there to a water treatment facility at the end of the landfill itself. And then this is Torne Valley Road, and on this side of the road we have the area that we put the Saltbox into. And this area was part of, both sides of the road were part of a sand quarry that were under the operation by the Ramapo Land Company some years ago. It's kind of loud here because we occasionally have these big trucks that drive by. These trucks go to the Solid Waste Management Authority and or the transfer station up the hill there. So on this side, as I was saying, we have the salt box. This is our 200-year-old ironworkers house that my students and I reassembled. And beyond it, over here, if we can walk this way, we have the area that we refer to now as OU2, which would be Operational Unit 2. And you can see there's a whole lot of trees down over here. You can probably see them when we get a little closer. This is the next phase of the Ford Motor Company paint sludge cleanup. So the phase 2, Operational Unit 2, and phase 2 of the cleanup. You can see a tremendous number of timber has been taken down. There's a power line in the distance. That's actually on the other side of the Torne Brook, that power line. So if you swing it around that way, you can go all the way up to the tree line. Anywhere where this timber has been taken down is an area where there would be paint sludge, where we have found paint sludge in the ground. And in order to remove the paint sludge, you have to take down the trees. So we have a lot of trees taken down. I'm sorry, I keep getting in your way. A lot of trees taken down. And it goes all the way down that way and continues further on. Then there's a little stand of trees, and then there's another area below that. So all told, there's quite a lot of acreage here that will be seeing an excavation very soon. Looks like probably once all the permits are in place, they'll first do the extraction of the timber, and then they'll start the excavation work in most likely late April, early May. And it'll go on for the rest of the year. This is 2015, so it'll go on for the rest of this year, hopefully getting it all completed before winter sets in at the end of the year. There's some tricky areas here. The terrain is, you can see, very highly irregular because this historically had been a sand quarry, so there were a lot of trenches. And way over there where that berm is, with the logs laying on it, is a berm on the other side. It drops off to the Torne Brook. There is paint sludge on the other side of that berm. That's part of the embankment. And that'll be the trickiest. That'll be an area that would be very interesting to see how that is extracted, because that'll be an area that's worked on most likely late June, early July, when the flow in the Torne Brook is at its lowest. As we know, in some areas that we've tested the ground, the paint can be trenched 3 to 4 feet deep. In that bank, we don't know how deep it goes in horizontally into that bank. But the agreement with Ford is they're going to follow the paint to get the paint out. So that'll be a Army Corps of Engineers permit because of the moving water that's involved there. And it'll be the trees on that side. You can see some of those trees, some hemlock over there. They will not be extracted until we get right down to that time, because you want to take out as few trees as necessary. Because of the idea of the bank retention, the deep-rooted bank retention. So you don't want to damage the bank going into the water system more than you actually have to. So these trees, you just wipe them out, and then we'll pull up the trunks and we'll get to the ground. Those trees will be done individually. Down at the well field, which was OU1, ultimately there was a little more than 40,000 tons of contamination removed. That included the paint sludge as well as tree trunks and soil that was damaged and so forth. Up here, there may be as much. We don't know, again, because it's buried, so you don't really know until you get into it. And it may be as an extensive and perhaps as an expensive project for Ford as OU1 was in the well field. That wound up costing Ford in excess of $15 million. The same thing may be true here. So time will tell this year. Before the year is out, we'll have a pretty good idea of where we're going with this project. And we have the potential for a new terrain. There'll be a restoration project which will be completed in 2016 in this area. And we'll continue the whole idea of education, environmental work here with the students, and they'll be a part of seeing what we can do with a trail, a nature side trail in an area that will be restored.